We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. By the time you hear this, it will be Tuesday. Fair warning, we are recording this on Sunday night.
Hmm.
I'm kind of getting ahead of the game a little bit because I'm going to be on the road in a car driving from Minneapolis all the way down to Savannah, Georgia. It's going to be a little hard not knowing where I'm going to be and what my situation is going to be. So I want to make sure you have the podcast. And of course, we have a lot of great guests that make sure that the podcasts are good. And today, we have Will back with us, and he seemed kind of anxious to talk. There's some things bothering him today. I just
Hmm.
want to point one thing out because people will make comment of it. My shirt, it looks totally different than the kind of thing I would normally wear. It's one of those waggle shirts that I got because my granddaughter likes to go on the boat. And if you see, it has a pontoon boat on there and stuff. So this is really for my granddaughter, not
Yeah.
for podcast consumption. But
Um,
this is what I'm fucking wearing. So that's the way we go with it.
and if they don't like it, whatever, f you.
Fuck 'em.
I'm so good at tell
So
people go. Why did you erase the camera? You should do this. You know what? Fuck it. If you're looking at this but not listening to what I'm saying,
yeah,
you see what I'm
you're missing
saying?
the
I
boat.
mean, you're missing the boat. Yeah. Hi, Mike. How you guys doing? Yeah. So my week has been weird because my family was in Florida the entire last
Oh
week.
wow.
Got because they went. My daughter spent some money that she had saved on. Everyone went to Disney World but me. And they also wanted to go to Universal Epic, and they did that. Um, and they came home with colds, so that proves that Florida is a disease-ridden state. So be
Yeah.
careful when you go to Florida. Also, if you haven't seen, look up the fireball over Atlanta
I was
because
going to
I
ask you about that.
it shook my house.
Really?
It did because it was like I've told everyone I lived in Los Angeles. I was born and raised in Los Angeles till about 15 years ago, being in Georgia. But I used to live up in Palmdale, Lancaster. We had a lot of the well, a lot of the test aircraft would go over. A lot of airworks and Lockheed plant there, so you get a lot of sonic booms. So I'm sitting in my bedroom. It's about 11:30, and the house starts to shake. And I'm looking out the window and go, okay, it's sunny. There's no thunderstorms. We had it last night, and then it starts to rumble. I'm going, okay, it's not an earthquake because I know what that is. And then it went, then it disappeared. And then I looked up. Yeah, that thing sonic boomed um, about 3 or 4 states before it burned up.
You know what's weird
So
about sonic booms?
mhm,
Millennials don't understand this, but when I was a little guy in the 60s, sonic booms were kind of common practice. And if you've never heard a sonic boom, it pretty much encompasses everything around you. It's the largest explosion you've ever heard with nothing coming after it. It's just the sonic boom from the planes going over. I mean, it got so common that you'd be walking down the street, sonic boom would hit. You'd look at your friend and go, sonic boom, and then you'd keep
exactly.
walking. But then
Well,
they outlawed that happening and you don't hear them anymore. But this
where
obviously was a different situation.
well, where I used to live in Palmdale, Lancaster, the early days of the shuttle program, when they would land at Edwards, it
Yeah.
would fly over us, and trust me, it would shake the house when
Wow.
she flew over. So I knew what it was, but it was. I, I saw that later on. I'm going, well, if is that not a sign? Jesus, Lord Almighty, God, what are you trying to tell me? Okay, over the southern states.
Well, what
But
what do you think
yeah,
that was? I mean, you if
it was
you're
a
on
meteorite.
TikTok, yeah, that's what it makes sense. But
Yeah,
people are going, "Oh, it's not a meteorite. You can tell because of this. It's
it's a
the
meteorite.
galactic battle, or it's a UFO." And the way
Okay,
they
guys.
described it seems classic meteorite.
Okay, just put away the gummies and relax. It's just one of those weird things that nature decided to deposit. But that also gives you kind of that was just a tiny little meteorite. You
Was it really?
imagine, and yeah, it was. I mean, compared to what it burned up in the atmosphere. Mostly they burn up, but it was good size enough that it got into the atmosphere and burned up, and that's why they caused the sonic boom. But if you can imagine, people talking about asteroids, something bigger, that's a scary thought unto itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's been my week, and it's been, um, it, it, I mean, it's been yeah, just kind of watching all this for the last week, just kind of the last 2 weeks of the Trump regime has been chaos upon chaos upon chaos,
Yeah.
from international to domestic to now the fight in the Senate right now as we speak. They're now having debate. They had to read the whole
Bill,
bill. I'll give Chuck Schumer credit. He made them read the whole damn bill. Thank God he did something
what,
for
a
a
thousand
change.
pages?
Yeah, made him read it all. And as you started to read it, there's some shit that came out. And when the procedural vote came out, they had to convince Lisa Murkowski to do the procedure vote so she could move it forward because she wasn't going to do it. We found out how. They cut a deal. They cut a deal where
A
Alaska wouldn't
bullshit
lose their
deal.
Medicaid, the Medicare, Medicaid, and SNAP benefits. And also, by the way, in that bill, which affects Alaska too, if oil companies that drill on federal land, they in that bill it reduces the royalties they have to pay to the United States Treasury back to the levels of 1920. More less revenue for us. Okay, the
So, so,
1920s.
so
That's for
what you're
Mr.
saying is,
Global. Go look it up, guys.
so what you're saying is that they needed Lisa Murkowski's vote. She was
Hmm.
strongly against it. She's strongly against Donald Trump, but they went to her and said, "Listen, we're going to take away Medicaid from everybody, but we won't from your state." And I'll be honest with you, she was probably getting played on that deal somehow too. But they cut a deal where her state wouldn't be affected, and she decides to sign on because she
Hmm.
doesn't give a fuck of the remaining 48 states.
Yeah, she's the worst. She has said she doesn't support Trump, but she's afraid of Trump. I mean, no, she's just like any Republican and wants to get something out of it. Now, that went the way of the dodo because the Senate parliamentarian said no. That has to be voted because it's not part of the budget. It's a special amendment or such that has to be removed and voted on a separate bill, which means that it can't be passed through 51 votes, 60. So they tossed it out. So now she's in limbo land. Is she going to support it or not? I mean, if they had passed it and they did that, the shit would have hit the fan anyway. But at least she could tell her voters, "Yeah, I protected you. Fuck the country." All right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Knowing people in Alaska, or at least the culture and some of the things that I've seen. You ever watch Show the Deadliest Catch? These people are hardy people. They're hardworking and they
Yeah.
have courage. How the fuck you put someone like that as senator of the United States is amazing. But now she's got to make a choice. And the thing about it is, they know this is a fucked up bill. They know it's a fucked up bill. They made it worse. It's just the MAGA is making worse. Like Mike Lee, who by the way, no one's talking about Mike Lee and what he did about the people who were assassinated in Minnesota, the legislator and her husband. They never said anything again about what he said or did. No censure, nothing. Total
Yeah.
silence. But that man has hated Social Security and Medicaid and Medicare for decades, and he's one of the impetus of the less money. Same with Ron Johnson.
Yeah.
Remember him of we want to sunset everything every 5 years
Right.
before. So everyone knows it's messed up, but they are just so determined to get it done for Trump. Period. They know it's totally fucked up, but they want to do it so Trump can have a win. They don't care. They'll lie to your
Well,
face. Mike Johnson lied to our face saying, we're not cutting Medicaid. Dude, it's in black and white. The
yeah.
math is there. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And we need the press to start pressing them more than they do, because there's no reason in the world people shouldn't be able to be clear about the fact that they are cutting Medicaid. Because if they weren't cutting Medicaid, why did they try to cut Murkowski a deal and not cut her Medicaid? Shouldn't have
Yeah.
been necessary if they weren't
Yep.
cutting Medicaid.
It,
But what people have to understand is the reason this bill is so fucked up is once again because of Donald Trump.
Yes.
I mean, these people were smart enough to know that you want to take a little bit at a time and kind of chip away at it. Donald Trump wasn't having that. I want the big win. I want it now. We'll get it. You just do your job and we'll get this thing passed. Well, it's a fucking hairball right now. There's a lot of things in it, and now the parliamentarian has torn it apart. So the issue is, even if it does pass the Senate, it's got to go back to the House, and they're going to go, "What the fuck?" They already
But they
think
may,
there's not enough cut out of it.
yeah, and it's going to be they they don't. Trump is threatening to keep them until they pass it. Okay, they want to go home on July 3rd and forget about all this. Okay, and run away. Considering what the Supreme Court has done in the last week, yeah, you sure as fuck want to run away. The way
Yeah.
things are going on right now, and they know it's not right. Now, only people like Chip Roy know it's not right. Who think? I mean, a lot of these Republicans are under what Trip Roy said about it. We need to cut this because red states are paying for blue states, lazy people to be on these programs. You motherfucker. It doesn't work
First
like
of all,
that.
that's not true. No, it's
Not
not
true.
true.
But see, they don't care. They're lying to us every goddamn day. And they're going to say this is going to save us money. It's not. They're going to add how many? You know the number: $3.9 trillion to the deficit.
Right.
That's dead fucking money. And you're
Well,
cutting
and
more revenue with, like I said, with the oil company thing.
yeah. And I was talking about this earlier. They kept talking about the economy with Joe Biden, how bad it was, which was odd because it was the envy of all the countries around the world after coming out of COVID. America did better than anybody else. So Donald Trump convinces dumb fucks that the economy is bad. He takes over. Prices are going up. Inflation is going up. GDP is dropping like a rock. The
Mm-hmm.
stock market is in flux constantly, which isn't something that people want. And then they want to do this bill that's going to add $3 or $4 trillion to the debt. Now, I'm not an accountant, but if I had to decide which side was good and what side was bad, Donnie Trump's side's not the good side. He's fucked this thing up, and if he's fucked this up and lied to these people, why would you continue to buy into the lie?
I mean, I put a video on because I saw reading that the GDP didn't drop by 0.3% in the first quarter. It dropped by 0.5% more.
Yeah,
We're in a stagflation situation where no one's buying anything. Everyone's just sitting waiting because we don't know what Trump's going to do with the tariffs. He already went off another fucking Canadian rant. Um, we don't know what's going on. And that type of uncertainty messes everything up. And there's always been layoffs, jobs. There is no job stimulation. Everything's sitting there. And I had some fucking Trump come in with a comment saying, well, you got to, the economy has to go back before you stimulate it. Hey, dude, the economy was fine
yeah,
before Trump fucked with it. We had positive GDP, positive job growth. We had investments. And the problem is, other countries are pulling money out of the United States. Foreign
absolutely.
investment is leaving the United States. Trump keeps screaming about we need to lower the interest rate. You can't do it. You know why? That's based on treasury bonds. Look at me, people. Read a little bit. Treasury bond sales. That's investing in the United States from other countries for a payback. They're taking money out of the United States. Treasury bonds are not worth it because the United States is a bad investment. And so at this point, they're not messing with the interest rate because that's what it's based on. It's not a political game, it's math. And the
Yeah,
math
exactly.
doesn't fucking work, especially when you go in there and fuck with it. All this is Trump's fault because he fucked with it. The Iranian thing, it's all his fault because he fucked with it. The economy, he fucked with it. And now it's a problem of his creation that they are trying to deal with or lie to you about that everything's okay. It's not okay. We know it's
Did,
not.
did you hear the latest thing with Donald Trump in Iran? Of course, we knew before the bombing that there was rumors of Iran wanted to assassinate Donald Trump, which I'm cool with. But then he does the bombing, and that's got to exacerbate the problem, you would think. But we didn't hear much about it. But now Iran is really pissed off at Donald Trump, and you know why? Because he
Why?
talks shit about the Ayatollah. You don't talk shit about the Ayatollah. So now they're issuing a death fatwa against Donald Trump. Now, I don't know what that means is going to happen, but talk about somebody who's not a fucking diplomat.
Yeah, I
And they're
know.
also saying, the ceasefire isn't on, this war isn't over, and this is
No.
all going to piss off Donald Trump, and he's going to piss off the Ayatollah more. It's just going to be an absolute shit show, and somebody's
And
going to get
what
hurt.
that comes from, the author. This comes from the '80s, Solomon Rushdie, who wrote a
Solomon
book.
Rushdie.
Yeah, and so they did that because it was about Muhammad, fiction book. So he had
Right.
that's where that came, and he had to go into hiding for good God, 20 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, they're gonna do it, but they're not gonna do anything. The Iranians are practical, and the thing about it is, let's be honest. He can cry all he wants, but that military operation was a fucking failure, and it was a fucking failure because of information being leaked by him. No operation secrecy. Fucking, you're tweeting about it or truthing about it. You're telling what you're going to do. And I know there were planners because they do plan for things like this in the Pentagon. And the president might, there's always scenarios run.
Right.
So, but as soon as he opened his mouth, I know the people in the Pentagon going, fuck, now what? Because now we got to adjust because he said something. And so
Well,
it was, go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, I understand this whole action has been worked on for 15 years.
Yeah.
And there's no fault to the military for the way they ran the plan. They ran it to a T. But they didn't account for the fact that Donald Trump would open his fucking orange fucking mouth and
Right.
tell them what the targets are. You can see how that's going to fuck up any kind of strategy.
And so in order to protect himself, he's blaming everyone else. The Democrats leaked it, and the press is out to get us. Pete Hesketh going after the Fox woman because saying that she's saying the intelligence is telling us it didn't work, and he went after her, and she went back at him, going, "Well, dude, I'm a reporter, and I'm getting this source from outside, like European intelligence is saying it didn't work. They have uranium. Oh yeah, by the way, the Iranians are pulling out the international watchdog too. So we don't know what the fuck they're going to do now. How did that work for you? Dear God, I'm tired of dealing with this guy's fucking ego because he wants to show everyone he's got a big dick. Well, we know he
No,
doesn't,
no, he
practically and
definitely doesn't.
literally, but he keeps doing this and it's stupid. And I searched, he was on Bartolomo, whatever, the drunk's
Bartiromo,
morning
yeah.
show. Yeah, the drunk's morning show. Why is it at Fox they drink? Hesget, her, fucking drunks. It must be the
It might have
stress.
it might have something to do with lack of integrity, ignorance, and just being embarrassed of what you're doing.
Probably. But she's talking to him and he started talking about cars and stuff when he comes around. I'm like, I heard some of it and I'm like, that man is not well. He
No,
is checked out of reality. But they're following him. Someone it I saw was it Tommy, the guy from North Carolina, the senator, help me.
Tommy
Thomas,
Tuberville,
no, not Alabama, the North Carolina senator
Tom
who's not going to
Tillis.
run, Tom Tillis. And he was on the debate floor talking about how this bill is fucked up. And I was listening to him and I'm going, okay, he's not going to vote for it now, obviously, but he might not
Right.
be enough. But I made a comment. It's like, he's not, you know, he's probably going to vote for it anyway. And someone said, well, they will if you called your senators. I go, no, let's all be clear here. Republicans, voters, and the party are in a Trump death cult. Okay.
Yeah.
They know it's going to go bad. They don't care because all that matters is giving Trump his win. They don't care. They don't. It's a death cult. All those people saying they're going to lose their health care and probably die, it doesn't matter to them. All
No.
those people, hospitals, rural hospitals closing, it's fact. It's in the math. They don't care. 3.9 trillion in debt. Who gives a fuck? As long as their dear God gets a win, because he needs one badly, because he's been losing like a motherfucker the last few weeks. That's all that matters. That's all this is about. They're going to push this bill through because they have to satisfy his holiness.
Let me ask you
It's
this.
simple as that.
Let me ask you this. Is it preferential? I know what it is in terms of humanity, because if this bill passes, it's going to hurt a lot of people. But we knew Donald Trump was going to hurt a lot of people. Um, is it preferential to have the Democrats be successful in stopping this bill? Or is it preferential in this bill passing and let them wallow in the shit that's going to come flowing on top of them?
You know what? It's lose lose.
Six,
You mean
six
that
of one, half a dozen of the other.
6 of 1 has doesn't don't want it to pass. I don't give a fuck because I don't think. And we're going to talk about. I want to talk about the New York election and the Democrats in a few minutes because I think
Yeah.
that's real important. Real important what's going to happen. What's going to happen in the next few months. But given the choice of that to make a point, no. People suffering is not worth a political point to me. I don't give a shit.
I agree.
Stopping this bill is going to benefit Americans. All right, not a Democratic Party, not any party, Americans.
Right.
Okay, because one of the things in this bill is money for DHS and ICE that is more money than the FBI and the Bureau of Prisons to continue the ethnic cleansing that's going on right now. They arrested in the last 10 days in LA 772 migrants. Not only half of them, according to them, 50% have never committed any crime at all. Any crime at all.
Yeah.
Okay. This is ethnic cleansing. They're picking up Iranian citizens now who are citizens of the United States, but they're taking them. And we had talked about this and you hadn't heard about this, but reports are coming out from around the world. Their bodies are washing up in Spain out of the Atlantic, shackled bodies.
Oh.
And everyone would kept wondering because the cost to ship people out on cargo planes like C-17s and 170s who are designed to drop cargo from the sky is pretty immense. Why would you do that? Reports are coming in. Now, has these been verified? Are these prisoners that were these people were murdered? Were they part of from detainees of ICE? We don't know yet, but there's so much going on. Like reports that these aircrafts logs showing them dropping under radar and popping up on radar over
You know
ocean.
what's what's fucked up about this is the idea that the U.S. government would be picking up immigrants, putting them on those kinds of planes, and then tossing them off the plane into the water to their death.
Who's
That
in
sounds
charge?
absolute. That sounds absolutely crazy, and it sounds like a conspiracy theory. But
I know
because
it
of the
sounds absolutely.
circumstances we're in right now, you go,
Well,
well, it could be. I mean, why else would shackled people wash up on the shore of Spain?
yeah,
And
it's not. That's not a
and
coincidence.
why no, and why is it that we've got people being taken off the streets and shipped out and we don't know where they are?
Yep.
We don't know
We
where they
would.
are, and if they disappear, they're less work in the long run. I don't want to believe that that is true, but I can't help but consider it given what we've already seen.
Remember, in the Argentinian governments, the Pinochet, people disappeared.
Right.
Hell, even the Nazi Party, people disappeared during the Germans' time. And also, you know, the reason that they're pushing for all these prisons to be built because they're running out of room, and that's not only is ethnic cleansing, but my tax dollars are being used to create concentration camps. That's what they are. Shut the fuck up. You don't build that thing in Florida when Ron DeSantis jumping around like a little kid with a new toy in the middle of the Everglades with tents and tell me what else it is. I said that one guy speculated it's a good way of letting people die without killing themselves because it's the fucking Everglades. It's Florida. I mean, it's tense. There's not going to be air conditioning. We already know that these concentration camps don't have enough food or water for people. I mean,
and all you have to do is consider this. Every movie you've ever seen about gangsters or whatever down in the South in Florida, I watched a series that's new. It's called The Waterfront. It takes place in North Carolina, and it's one of those things where drug running and gangsters and stuff like this. When somebody kills somebody or wants to kill somebody, where do they put them? They put them in the fucking swamps. With alligators because the evidence is eaten.
Yeah. And that was one thing that
it sounds crazy, but it's not so crazy.
I mean, there was speculation that they're dropping these people supposedly over shark-infested waters so they can get rid of the evidence. I mean, the thing about it is you got to understand who's in charge of all this. That's Stephen Miller.
Right.
Stephen Miller is literally the most evil person we've run across since add your Nazi name there. Okay. And what we're seeing right now with the ICE detentions, the people, the secret police picking up. Man, I saw a video. This lady was just at a taco stand. They stopped to pick her up. She ran. They beat the fuck out of her. This little Mexican woman dragged her away. But the worst part of that video was that a woman saw LAPD watching them do this. And she asked a cop, "Do you know what's going on in the city right now?" The cop goes, "What's going on?" Sarcastic. And he goes, "They just took that woman away without any warrant. Don't you think that's a bad thing?" And he goes, "Yeah, it's a bad thing." And walk back up the alley that he came from. They don't give a fuck.
No.
There's something going on. This ethnic cleansing is, no one cares. They really don't. And you get videos of guys going, one guy like in Arkansas going, "You smell that? There's no Mexicans around." They're fucking enjoying this.
Well,
watching these people being abused.
That's the thing I was saying on a previous podcast. It's one thing to have some people do this, but there's got to be some people with ICE or the police department that know this is wrong. But they all seem to take joy in this. Well, I mean, what kind of fucking human being takes joy in children or women being taken away and listening to those children scream and not having any empathy at all or not have any decency at all and do anything? What kind of fucked up human being do you have to be?
And the budget gives them more money to do this and hire more of these people to do it. Okay?
I mean, they need the money because, as far as we know, they're out of it now.
By the way, do you know why they didn't? North Carolina didn't get their FEMA money.
Why?
It ended up in ICE hands.
No doubt.
Yeah, and it's just, and it's frustrating because I listen to these people talk about, and it's like, and the press doesn't bring. They're just reports and reports and reports of abuse in these detention centers, of no water, no medical care. Woman lost her baby. A man died. A Canadian man died in ICE custody a couple of days ago.
You want to hear the happy note of that one, though? TJ told me. Guy from Canada comes to America, gets picked up by ICE, put in a detention camp. He dies. Now, the lighter side of things is he's also a Trump supporter. So, well, shit happens.
Well, that's lovely. So, but still, I mean, I wouldn't wish that on anybody, honestly. It's just,
I would wish it on a few people, but maybe not that guy. But does that, when something like that happens, when somebody's picked up illegally from another country and they die while they're in custody of this country, is that close to an international incident?
I mean, I did a video. If I were in Canada, I pull my diplomats out for a consultation.
Yeah.
As a warning. I mean, I don't know what Europe, he's fucking around with him, with Trump. I mean, the reason we're hearing all this daddy Trump bullshit, because I believe that was the Netherlands, whoever at
It was
NATO,
Netherlands, right?
Netherlands. He wasn't doing that as he was saying here. Is this man didn't come here as a peer. He came here to be admired. He wanted
Yeah.
people to love him. He wanted people to call him to be daddy, not part of this. He does not know how it works. That's why he left. They don't want his ass around because he's useless. He just he was, as he said, he was the only one that wanted the red carpet because that's Trump. That Trump needs this love. Like when he got to the G7, they treated him like shit because
It's a
you're
joke.
worthless. NATO's the same. NATO wants to do anything with you, dude, because you're useless. And the thing about it is, they don't want anything to do with us because we put this useless piece of shit in charge. And that's
Absolutely.
frustrating for them because they can't trust us as a people. And I get it. We're
And the
dumb.
queen and the queen of the Netherlands is now a hero because she made fun of his stupid ass. Did you see that? Where she kind of
No, I
made
missed the queen. What did the queen do?
way he was talking, she was standing there kind of laughing, made a face like Trump, and it went
Holy shit.
across the media, and the Queen made fun of Donald Trump. So
But see, that's a joke. And weird. And you can't get anything accomplished. And now, we're sitting here waiting for the next thing to happen. It's the chaos is tiresome. And you don't know what they're going to do next because these people are out of their goddamn minds. We're led by someone who's out of his goddamn mind.
you
Period.
once said a few people have said that when this is all over, we are going to see Nuremberg trials, Nuremberg like trials. And
Yeah.
some people might say, well, that's kind of exaggerated. But when you look at the literally atrocities that are being committed against people on the streets who are being picked up who are citizens, you have to wonder. And now with this suggestion that these people are washing up on the shores of Spain that are shackled, we don't know that um, they're the immigrants that Donald Trump is sending off. But if there's some way they can prove it is, holy fuck.
That's an
You're
international human rights violation.
you're going to
And
have
that
every
puts us,
country in the world coming after his shit.
that's persona non grata. We will be, we are, okay, guys, say it with me. We are the bad guys now.
Yeah.
We are the bad guys. No one trusts us. And we got nuclear weapons, which should scare the piss out of the world. I would. That scares me. And you
I
got
would
this. Go ahead. I'm
I
sorry.
would say this, Russia has long been the bad guy because they do the shit they do and they have nuclear weapons. I say we're along those same lines, but we're way worse, way more dangerous. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes. Yeah. Because I think even in Vladimir Putin is a lot of things, but you have to remember he was head of the KGB in the Soviet years. His
Yeah.
job was to bring down other governments. He is not Trump.
No,
He's
he's not
he's a
stupid.
narcissist. He's a narcissist. He's egotistical. He wants the new Russian Empire. And he got involved in Ukraine, and they surprised him because they thought they would roll over. He got surprised. Now he's stuck in a war he didn't want, and he's a propagandist. But he's not Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And he'll wave a sword and he'll wave a weapon, but he knows it's stupid to do it unless he wants everything to end. He doesn't want everything to end.
Yeah,
Donald Trump
Vladimir
would do it
Donald Trump
just to make a point.
Donald Trump is akin to giving a chimpanzee a loaded handgun. You don't know what
Yep,
the fuck's going to happen.
you don't. And that's where we're at right now. And here we are at this point. If the bill passes, it's death for the Republican Party.
Yeah.
It should be for the next elections. And I want to back up on one quick thing here on the Supreme Court and all the 6-3 decisions, including the birthright citizenship. At first, I thought that was the end of birthright citizenship. It isn't. It's
No.
just that they're trying to stop one federal judge from doing a nationwide injunction. The problem with that is that some of their judges have done shit. That means that stuff has got to stop too. You shoot
Yeah.
yourself in the foot. But the original plaintiff who brought that case against Trump, there is in the Supreme Court ruling, if it's done as a class action suit, which
Right.
means that you can attach people to it, it can have a nationwide bias. So they refiled against his ruling on the 14th Amendment that only the birthright citizen only applies to children of slaves. This is bullshit. We know it's bullshit. It's just 2025 extension of their crap. And a class action suit, which gets around what the Supreme Court was trying to say.
And that makes
And
sense because these people could be anywhere around the country. Then what do you
right,
do? The thing about this universal injunction thing and how the Republicans don't like it and how Donald Trump wants to end it. What people have to understand is the Democrats were bitching about that too. There was
yes,
the case with mifepristone, and they wanted to outlaw that or whatever. And they went to a judge in Amarillo, fucking Texas, and he put out a universal injunction. So at that point, Democrats would have wanted the uh, the same thing. And I look at it as kind of like the filibuster. It's
mm-hmm.
you really hate it unless you need it.
Need
And
it.
it's
Mm-hmm.
it usually is taking a shortcut like the filibuster. Immediately you say filibuster, now it's 60 votes. Used to be you had to put in some work to get that filibuster to be
Yeah, I
effective.
know.
And the same with this universal injunction thing. I'm not necessarily opposed to the universal injunction, but I understand. I mean, you get a guy that's a judge, a dumb fuck judge in Amarillo, and he gets to choose what the country has to do. I see the problem with that.
Right. I mean, and that's what they didn't address the question of birthright citizenship. Now Trump is thinking they did, but they did not.
Right.
Okay, that's that they didn't change the Constitution. They would directly have to challenge that on set of a case up to directly challenge the Supreme Court. Hope not,
Right.
because that Supreme Court is totally fucked up. Period. End discussion. Those guys are gone. Constitution doesn't mean shit to them.
Now,
They're finished. But it brings us to one thing because I saw uh, one of the guys that comes to your show, one of the guys that follows me, Eddie G. Some woman was talking about how this ruling is going to affect the midterm elections. So all they have to do is you can't stop Trump from stopping an election. They can challenge each election, blah blah. And I'm going. The difference is it's not a national election. Each election is state by state.
right.
Each district is local. So if a judge rules for that area, it's not a nationwide thing. You can't stop that. If Trump goes in and questions, if the Republicans question that, like they did in North Carolina for months with that seat, but in
Right.
the end they still ruled for the Democrat to win, that was
Mhm.
handled on a local level. So that
Exactly.
person's evaluation was convoluted. Again, someone saying we're not going to have midterms. Oh, we're going to have midterms.
Yeah, we're going to
We're
have
going to have
midterms,
midterms.
and the people who come out on the media and say, "Oh my God, this happened," all is lost. They're just trying to hype you up
Right.
and scare you so that you keep watching. There's no question about that. I keep getting people coming to my comments. A guy by the name of Z-Man. I stand by. There's going to be no midterms. Well, you can stand by that if you
Stand
want,
by it and watch
but
Civil
there's
War
no
break out.
precedence for that happening, and it's not going to happen.
I mean,
Um,
there's a thing that happened in Miami, which is disturbing, where the city council or the city commission, they had elections coming up in November. They pushed them out to next year because there wasn't. It was bullshit. That's going to get challenged in court because the
that's not going to
mayor is.
stand.
Yeah, it's not going to stand. I mean, because it was a technicality. It was already ruled against that the city council can't do it, so they went to the city commission
Right.
who did it. So that's not going to stand. I mean, it might be a test case, but good luck with that. And if you try
Yeah.
to keep midterms off, or as one, Mark Elias drives me nuts because he's a fucking doomslayer, talks shit, but doesn't do anything
Yeah.
about it. He talks about, well, the military is going to seize voting machines. No, they're not going to do it. Stop it. Okay, just fucking stop it. Just file lawsuits and do your job. Okay, fucking stop talking shit when every time you speak to Tyler Cohen. Because I listen to you and going, okay, should I shoot myself now or take poison? Because the way you're talking, might as well just fucking give up. I hate listening
Exactly.
to him now. No, it's not going to happen. But I'll tell you one thing that's going to affect the midterms. They're going to pass that bill more than likely because, like I said, death cult. Trump needs a win. Fuck everyone else. And then they can go home and they're going to get shit. Oh, they're going to get shit.
Well, they're
And like I
already
said
getting
before,
shit.
but like I said before in a podcast in the past, they're going to go to people, and why they're surprised at the town halls is that you elected me to support Trump. That's what I'm doing. That's what I did. This is what you voted for. That's exactly it. When people say I didn't vote for this, no. When you voted for your Republican, they promised to support Trump anything he does. You got what you voted for. Conversely, the bad economy, the immigration, all of it. Understand that. You didn't vote for a representative to represent you. You voted because he promised to support Trump. Never fucking forget that. And that's going to cost them.
They don't really expect that excuse is going to work. Well, you said to support Trump, and that's what I did, and we fucked you over. They aren't
I
going to
think that's why
stand for
they're
that. They're going to kick your
surprised.
ass out. Yeah.
But if you hear them respond to the people in these town halls, that's what they say.
Yeah.
I'm
True.
here to
You're right.
support Trump because that's what you voted me to do, and I promised you to do. And everyone's going, yeah, but we didn't expect you to do this to us. You know, I didn't. Again, it comes back to, yeah, but why am I getting fucked? Why isn't the other person I hate getting fucked? So that's your choice. So the Republican
But
Party is going to go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, no, the Republican Party's just going to stand back and let their people fry. Because let's be honest, if they're going to cut Medicaid from poor people, that's basically what they're talking about. Um, it's going to affect the red states far worse than it does
Oh
the blue states.
yes,
I mean, it's going to affect everybody. It's not, and people say, does this affect Medicare and Social Security? Not directly. But
some with Medicare.
If you're on Medicare and you live in a small town, chances are your hospital's going to close down
Yes,
because they depend on Medicaid funding. And if that Medicaid's not there, the hospital's going to close down. And if you live in bumfuck Egypt, you're going to have to go 2 counties over to find a decent hospital. Now, if you like that, good for you, but I don't think that's a positive thing.
and the problem with most Republican voters, they live in bumfuck Egypt. Hey, Kentucky, you put that old turtle in that seat for 30 plus years. He's never done anything for you, and he just told you to go fuck yourself and die. But you
Yep.
keep voting for Republicans, you dumbasses. This is on you because you can't get out of your own motherfucking way. But the Republicans going to sweat are going to sweat the midterms. You know what's going to sweat the midterms? Democrats.
Yeah, yeah.
And we know, and they're going to sweat it because of what, and I'm mispronouncing, Zoran Mondami has done in New York
Mondami, yeah.
City. Okay. That is freaking them the fuck out at this point.
Oh, no question.
Because I subscribe to his TikTok. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched a couple of them. And that man has figured it the fuck out. He's not talking, he was in a deli talking about small businesses and what we're going to do with small business while getting an egg sandwich in New York.
Right.
And telling people this is how we're going to be, because half the people in New York get their jobs here in small businesses. We care about small business, unlike Mayor Adams, which is true. Adams is a crook who has ripped the city off and is in the pockets of billionaires. And he's addressing that. And I thought, I didn't know who this guy was. And then I saw part of the debate he had with Cuomo, that motherfucking sex pervert. Democrats, you put the Democratic version of Trump up for mayor of New York. Are you out of your goddamn minds? Really? These
That's
are
the best you
facts
can
why
do.
he resigned the governorship. You mother dummies. And but he went after him about the police, that old bullshit. You want to defund the police. You don't care about it. You know how he came back out and he mispronounced his name. He went the Kamala bullshit, right? He thought he was
Yeah.
clever. He's just trying to be like Trump. That man turned around and said, and I had never heard him. I never knew who he was. And he told Cuomo, I have talked to rank and file officers at NYPD, and they told me they want to fight crime, not be social workers or worry about people's mental health. That's why I'm going to put money in and for them to enforce the law while setting up a division to handle social and mental issues so they can concentrate on crime. And by the way, and he spelled his name and said, this is my name, get used to it. Not only did he say how to address that in a way that was brilliant, he turned around to Andrew Cuomo, go fuck yourself, get used to me because I ain't going nowhere. And I saw that and said, fuck. That was refreshing and on the point. And that's why
Well,
Cuomo got his ass handed to him in
yeah,
that
absolutely.
election. Period.
Well, I mean, if the Democrats wanted somebody to go up against Mondami, they could have done a little better than Andrew Cuomo. But Andrew Cuomo has some sway. He has some money. He has some name recognition. But it's funny. You sit and listen to a guy who's been a lifetime Democrat, and he sounds exactly like a Republican when he's
Yes.
confronted with somebody who's beating him. Now, the Republicans are terrified of Mondami
Oh,
because
God,
he
yes.
because he's 33 or 34 years old, which is pretty young. And he also happens to be a Muslim. So they are terrified of them. But I think you were pointed out earlier, it's the Democrats terrified too. And
Get it?
frankly, the Democrats should look at this as a clue or a
They
hint.
don't.
No, I
They
know they don't.
don't. They don't. I mean, like, Cuomo's going to run as an independent. Eric Adams is running as an independent. Dude, I got a video taken down for 24 hours because I said that Eric Adams got lucky that Trump won the election because he was going to end up being indicted by the DOJ for a
Right.
whole plethora of corruption charges. They had filed it. Trump gave him a get out of jail free card. Man, they could not wait to drop me on that one because
Yeah.
all I hear in that, then I saw Eric Adams talking about Mondami like he's not for the working people. Mondami goes, really? I'm looking to cut rents. You've raised rents in New York up to 2.8%, and you want to raise another 8% for your corporate buddies.
Yeah.
All right. I know Adams is trying to court the black vote, saying he ain't one of us. Dude, you're not one of them.
Oh, hell no.
You're not. And Wall Street's like, we're just going to leave. Fucking leave then. Go ahead, try it. You're not going to leave New York. You're not leaving New York. You're going to pay a little more taxes. People will be more happier. And will some of his programs fail? Fuck yes. But at least he's going to try. Unlike Trump, because now they're trying to do it like there was that one lady from New York saying he's trying to be like Trump, saying you're going to lower prices and all that. Well, yeah, he's got a plan. Trump just conned your ass. And that's the thing. And here's the thing: I know that the Democrats are fucking freaking out. Hakeem Jeffries has not endorsed him for mayor of New York, the
Yeah.
Democratic nominee. Why?
Yeah.
Because you're fucking afraid of him. You're afraid of him, and you should be afraid because I just saw the guy who's running against Nancy Pelosi's seat in San Francisco,
Really.
and he's Muslim, and he talks sense, and she's fucked.
Yeah.
She's going to lose that seat. And he's going to win that seat in San Francisco because no Republicans winning that seat. I don't care who's there.
Well,
She's going to
don't you?
lose that seat in the primary. It's coming.
Well, hopefully that's the case, because she's too old to be doing this, and we've had enough. She did her bid. She did all right for a while. Now she's 100. Time to go home and sit with a cat because you're out of fucking touch with what's going on. And
And
this is what we need. And hopefully this is a signal. If we've got a young guy in San Francisco running against Pelosi, we got Mondami in New York. We need a bunch of young people coming to the surface, saying the right things and going up against these people.
there,
Exactly what David Hogg wants to see.
but do you know who's behind a lot of Madami's money? David
Who?
Hogg's PAC.
Oh, wow.
David hogs packs there, and also there are reports that a lot of young people are starting to look at running for for offices now.
Reps. Yeah.
Yeah, they're starting to step up. The point being is that when you hear the Democrats talk, it's stupid, old school bullshit because they need their hands in the till. That's why people don't trust them. We don't trust them is because they got their hands in the till. And the
Right.
one thing that the Madami primary vote win proved to me that the far left latte liberals, and I'm not talking about the true progressives like Al Sharpton. He had a meeting with Al Sharpton and Spike Lee, and
Oh,
they
wow.
took him in. Okay, and he had a speech that just blew your socks off. And I can see Al Sharpton in the back going, "Who is this boy? Look at
Yeah.
him go!" Because he hasn't heard shit like this in probably since Jesse Jackson.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, and Spike Lee was shaking his hand. That's a force. And the
And
point
that
is,
makes a
Eric Adams
difference.
should be
Yeah.
running scared because, dude, you proved yourself who your side's on. And Andrew Cuomo, dude, fuck you. You just got money from your partner, Bloomberg, and your brother can go fuck himself too, because Democrats aren't going to lose the election. Because that's the problem. You keep thinking that progressive policies will use the election. Guess what? It won't, because progressive policies are about empathy. Empathy, which we do not have on the Republican side. Does that make
Yeah.
sense to you guys?
I think that, when you talk about progressive policies, if you explain what those policies are, it'll do fine. I think what they're saying about progressives can't win is similar to the lie that Republicans told us about trickle down.
Right.
Trickle down doesn't work, but they keep saying it will, and people keep telling us the progressive can't win, and we're seeing otherwise in many situations.
Yeah, but part of the problem is that Democrats who try to run the center back away from progressive policies. No, I didn't mean that. We'll still have room for others. No, the best thing about Mondami is like, yeah, I said it, and this is how I'm going to do it. He's not backing away from it. The problem with Democrats is that every time they get pushed on it, they go, "Oh, we don't want to upset these people," because, as one person said, they keep chasing the white male vote. Stop
Right.
chasing the white male vote.
Yeah.
Stop it. That's a lost cause because those guys are gone. Let's be honest. They're gone because they're in a different world. We don't exist.
Right.
And the thing about it is, well, what about Wall Street? Wall Street only cares about money. And
Right.
if people are have jobs, pay taxes, enough to invest, and you got the economy running, they don't give a fuck. They really didn't give a fuck about Biden because the only reason they were kind of wishy-washy on it because they were hoping for tax cuts with Trump on what they didn't know they were going to get this fucking chaos. Trust me,
Right.
Wall Street don't like the man. He is chaos. And this is not going to be chaos. I mean, they're talking about, well, how's he going to pay for no transportation? Easy. You raise the taxes 2% on the rich in New York City. And and it's not going to be, well, no one can afford a tax. No, he's not talking about the poor. He's talking to those people who live in Wall Street and up there. That's why they're in panic mode because they can't afford another what? $20,000 a year, you dumb motherfuckers. I mean,
This
they're
is where
so
this
narrow minded.
this is where the Republicans lie to people.
Mhm.
They will come out and say, we're going to be looking at some of the biggest tax increases in history. They don't say that it doesn't include the middle class, that it only includes the upper class, the wealthy class.
Mhm.
They just throw that phrase around. The
And
taxes are going to be higher. Taxes should be higher for certain people.
exactly. And and it drives you crazy is that because they've been using the debt as a fucking hammer from Reagan. Someone put out a TikTok, and I had forgotten this. There was a law years ago. Um, if you know, how did Walmart become so big? Okay, from Arkansas. What they did is they forced wholesalers to give them money to sell them their goods at a certain price because of the bulk. And if they didn't sell it, it'd just go somewhere else. So they
Right.
played with the prices. The reason they could do that is that in the Reagan years and their deregulation is that there was a law that wholesalers could not give breaks to large companies as opposed to smaller companies.
Right.
I.e., if you're selling wholesale goods to Kroger, you have to sell them at the same price to the bodega in New York. If you know
Right.
the same price at this for the period. What they were doing is that they keep the same price here for the bodega, and once they deregulate, they can lower the price for Kroger because they make it up in bulk. Therefore, Kroger can offer lower prices and put the bodegas out of business. That's how Walmart did it. And after they get your business, they can raise the prices and fuck you. That's what they did.
Yeah.
And the point is that that's what he's addressing with that. He's addressing about free transportation because hey, someone needs to get around that goddamn city, and you can't drive in that city. I mean, these are practical things that he talks to New Yorkers about, and they're excited about it because someone's talking to them, not talking to them, not
But
talking
isn't
about security. And we're going to pick up everyone like Giuliani, but talking about what you're going to do for me.
isn't
Finally,
that what Democrats have been saying since November 5th? What we've got to do is we've got to tell the people what we can do for them and how we're going to do it for them. Let's talk about those things we can do for the people, and that's what the Democrats didn't do. Some people are saying that Mondami's doing everything that Donald Trump did. Why not? Donald Trump
the
said,
word,
"I'm going to lower prices. I'm going to lower the inflation." He didn't tell you how. He just said he was going to do it. Absolutely right. It fucking works. So why not do it? If
yeah,
there are people stupid enough to buy into something like that, well, then they're in for a treat because they'll buy into this and they'll actually see it happen
yes,
as opposed
because
to what
he's a
Donald
comp.
Trump is doing.
Because you bought into a con man who can't fucking string together a sentence outside of
Right.
see Dick Jane run, and you
Yeah.
get a guy who not only I was so impressed in watching that video, him in the deli, because it wasn't pretentious. It
Right.
wasn't pretentious. He's going, I live here. This is what I like, and um, and this is why I'm going to keep it because it's good for everyone. And it didn't sound like someone who's never had an egg sandwich in his life in New York.
Right. Right.
It didn't look like that. But I bet Hakeem Jeffries looks like that. And
Yeah.
Jeffries, he's they're so afraid of losing corporate money and APAC money. And that's the other attack on him is that if he becomes mayor of New York, all Jews are going to be persecuted. That's what they're going. I hear it. You dumb fuck, stop it.
I saw a
All right.
representative being talked to. I think he may have been a Republican. Um, Somebody asked him how many people take money from APEC. He said, everybody. He said, I
Yeah.
don't. They don't like me because I don't. And when he said everybody, he meant Democrats and Republicans.
Yes.
He said they all have their own APEC guy that they consult with as to making decisions on things. So that means a foreign country is coming in with all our representatives, fill in their pockets with money and say, do this, do that, do this. This is why we have problems
Right.
because we have a foreign entity controlling our members of Congress. And that shit's got to stop.
Right. And I think we're starting. You had said earlier during this conversation, is it a good thing if the bill passes or it's a bad thing? I mean, it's a bad thing because people will suffer. It
It's a
might be a
bad
good
thing no
thing.
matter what.
Yeah, it's a bad thing. But if you look at it this way, within that type of environment, if it does pat more like, and I'm going to say this, I don't want to be pessimistic because it'll be Tuesday and we'll probably know the answer. I'm 95% sure it's going to pass because, again, death cult, because they need it for Trump so he can
Right.
wave his strong at everyone, say, hey, look what I did. He need to do a fucking thing but threaten people. But then in that world, Democrats can't say anything other than we have to fix it, but old school guys won't fix it. We already
Right.
proven they won't do it. They don't have the taste for it because they have to tell their corporate donors this is going to cost you money.
Well, and
The
here's the other
younger
thing you
people
have to
do.
worry about. These guys will do things that benefit themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Democrats will talk shit about them. And then when the Democrats get control, they won't fix it because now they're benefiting from it. See,
Yes.
that's the problem.
Now, I will say that I think we were talking about that in the oversight committee. Jasmine Crockett had backed out. The
Yeah.
whole thing with
And
AOC.
Robert
Robert
Garcia. Yeah.
Garcia got it. Robert
Right.
Garcia is not a punk,
No,
and
no,
he's
he's
already
good.
said he already said he's going to go and start investigating Stephen Miller because Stephen Miller has some pretty heavy money ties to these
Yeah.
private prisons and these security firms they're brought to hire for ICE. He's making money off people's misery. How fascist of him.
Well, and he
And
shouldn't be
so,
making money over things he has control over. That's
yeah,
illegal.
yeah, and Trump
And he
shouldn't
doesn't
be
have
making
immunity.
money off of his does too. I mean, that's the thing. People say, people say we shouldn't do it. Yeah, but he's fucking doing it because no one stopped him,
Right.
and there's no one there to stop him. That's the thing. When it comes to ICE and the deportations, and we know about these concentration camps and their conditions. Why are they doing it? Because no one's stopping them. No one's
Exactly.
going in investigating. No one's trying to stop them. I mean, if you have one of those prisons or these camps in your state, you don't send representatives. You send a SWAT team in with the representative to bust the door down so they can look at it to protect the legislature. And if ICE wants to fight them, you say, "Hey, we have a warrant because there are crimes being committed here in our state. That trumps your fucking federal land. Get the fuck out of our way because you're on state land." And
Right.
push them out and force a fight. But no one has the balls to do that because they're afraid of Trump. I don't know. Why does anyone step up and do that? Because that would then all the cameras are there. Everyone can see that. You can release those people because they're in bad conditions. You could show them, but no one has the balls to do that. And or they're down with what's going on. And that's going back to the reckoning of this, because all these regimes end badly. The reckoning is going to take decades to clear up. And many people are going to lose their reputations, their money, and their freedom because you're pushing Americans to the point they're not going to protest anymore. And that's coming up on the 4th of July.
Right.
And that's another thing we don't touch on.
That's going to be interesting. Well, the other thing we have to mention too is we talked about the tariffs and how we pulled
Oh,
back and
God.
how we put a pause on the tariffs. Well, that's up on July 9th. That's up on
Oh, he's
July 9th. So what the fuck's going to happen then?
well, he's saying he's not backing off on them. And he already picked a fight with Canada again over nothing
Yeah.
because he's whatever. Kristi Noem was up in Michigan saying that Canada is sending across criminals. Now it's Canada. Forbes
Yeah.
Mexico. Now it's Canada because they got to keep up the fear on the Fox News channel.
Here's my
Uh,
question. Who even wants to come here anymore? If you're going someplace for relief, this ain't the fucking country to do it. Certainly not Canadians. Jesus
I mean,
Christ.
I haven't heard of it. I guess tourism isn't well. I don't know. If you're coming to the United States, you're out from out of the country. You're out of your mind.
Yeah.
We are fucked up. Yeah, I mean, don't come here. This is a
Just not
dangerous fucking
safe.
place. It's
It's
not.
not safe. We got a guy from Canada. Canada, he gets put in detention and he dies in detention, regardless of what his affiliation is.
I mean,
He fucking died.
They deported a guy from the Netherlands because he had a mocking picture of JD Vance. Last time I checked, First Amendment still stands.
Yeah.
I mean, why does that make him a threat? He had a funny picture of JD Vance. What? I mean, this is insanity. And the people who are running these offices right now that they have there, yeah, keep thinking it's okay. There is a reckoning coming. There will be. I may not see it. You may not see it, but you will see it because
Well,
you cannot keep doing this forever.
yeah, it's once they're out of power, once Donald Trump is no more, there is going to be a lot of people that don't have immunity, and people will have power in as far as the Democratic Party in the House and the Senate, possibly. There's going to be nothing.
The,
Well, what's going to happen for the next 2 years after the midterms? Nothing is much going to happen legislatively, but there is going to be investigation after investigation, and people
investigation,
are
yeah.
going to be exposed. Just like the first time around, all these people around Donald Trump, they all ended up indicted, fired, or losing
And the
their
point
law
is, like
license. It's going to happen
at,
again.
at the Lincoln Project, actually laid it out. They put a picture of all this cabinet people and like ICE people. You do know the only person that has immunity, right? People, it's Donald Trump.
And that's
You guys
limited.
are fucked. You guys are fucked. Period.
Do you
The
think they
Supreme Court is
realize
going to
that?
save you.
Or are they all high on their own supply and they think Donald Trump will be there forever and he'll be able to
Death
cover
cult.
them forever? You think that?
Death
You
cult.
think they? Yeah.
Yeah. They believe it. They are hardcore believers to the
Wow.
bitter end. I mean, understand when Hitler went under the bunker, he had hardcore believers to the bitter end. It's going to be that way. And at this point, a lot of them think they're winning. Let's be honest. They think they're winning because the biggest thing they're getting is the mass deportations, which are not getting deportations. What you're getting is arrest. You're mass arresting people at this point. You're not doing it. And then I saw a video in Miami with ICE agents trying to pick up 2 Haitians, and those agents got their asses kicked. People were just not fucking around. And the thing about it is, you're going to start going after groups that are going to fight back. And people say, well, that's what they want. They'll fight back and they declare martial law. Shut the fuck up. Americans are hitting a point where they're getting tired of it. I can hear people's voices. They don't, and it's going to a point where someone's going to do something tragic, and it's going to spark something off. Which I am concerned, not concerned, but 4th of July is coming up on next Friday. Friday coming up, guys. And as I said before, the 4th of July has never been a military celebration. It's been a people celebration.
Right.
We do this on our own. We have festivals, we have parties, we have barbecues, we have fireworks at the end, celebrating independence of the people. Because the government, as Lincoln said, is of the people, for the people, and by the people.
Right.
Okay. It's not the military. It's not the government. It's we give power to the government. That's the United States. I'm seeing coming up with this 4th of July celebration 2 things, 2 camps that people are making me kind of aggravated. Camp 1, I'm not going to celebrate it because I don't believe in this country anymore. It's dead. Really? Then get the fuck out of the way because obviously you didn't vote for Kamala Harris and you're lazy and you're a latte liberal, so get the fuck out of my way. 2, MAGA. This is our holiday you're trying to take from us. You're not so celebrated because you don't believe in Trump. That's our holiday. Don't celebrate our 4th of July. Fuck you. It's my holiday. It's my fucking country.
Right.
So for those of you who don't want to celebrate 4th of July, fuck that. Fuck that. Celebrate it because that's our Independence Day. When we told the biggest country in the world to go fuck themselves, we are who we are. And we are going to stand by it. Don't let them take that from you, from the far left and the far right, because they have their own thing. And the protests are coming 4th of July. And if they pass that bill, and again, since we're doing this in the past, that protest is going to be bigger. Because now it's going to be
I think it's going to be bigger anyway.
Yeah, due process. It's going to about people literally have nothing to lose. It's going to be bigger and huge. And people are going to celebrate 4th of July by saying, this country doesn't belong to Trump. It doesn't belong to Project 2025. It doesn't belong to a bunch of old white guys who decided that version of Christianity is what we should run this country, which makes you no better than a fucking Ayatollah.
Right.
Truth. Look yourself in the mirror. We need to celebrate 4th of July like any time we've ever done, even more. And we need to protest what's going on, either doing what we're doing right now, because our old asses aren't going to be out there, but the younger folk are going to be out there. But I'll tell you one thing, MAGA doesn't want it. And the reason MAGA's saying it, because they're getting fucking scared. Yeah,
I
you
think
better
they
be
are.
scared, because there's
I mean,
more of us.
I'm surprised that it hasn't happened yet, but I'm afraid at some point, with the anger so high and what ICE is doing and the atrocities they're creating, I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of those ICE agents don't end up dead. They're going
It's
to
going to
come up to
happen.
somebody who's carrying a gun, open carry legally. These guys swoop in, they don't identify themselves, and they want to take them away, and they're going to get fucking shot. It's
Again,
inevitable.
soft targets. They still haven't gone. I don't think raiding a car wash is a hard target from hardened gang member criminals, or picking up the taco lady, or going into a restaurant. You guys are just cruel ass motherfuckers, and eventually it's going to catch up because people are pushing back streets. That's why they have to throw flashbangs or point weapons at people, because people are pushing back and they're afraid for their lives.
Yeah.
They are afraid for their lives, and they're going to run across something that they can't get out of. And then I want to see the reaction from the local police and the military. What are you going to do then? Because already Trump has already put out the lie that Trump agents are being assaulted everywhere.
Yeah.
That there are 50% or more attacks on Trump's agents. Tom Homan is clutching his pearls. I can't go home. They're threats. Really, you think? And you see, they're trying to make themselves as if something happens. You see, is all these violent, and it's not liberal. I swear to Almighty God, you fucking MAGA. This is not a liberal thing. This is a due process thing. Just because we believe in due process doesn't make me a liberal. It makes me an American, you dumbasses. I'm tired of that. I had one
Well,
guy, because I was talking about the alligator Alcatraz bullshit, that fucking concentration camp. And I told him people are going to die there because he goes, well, you're just fear mongering like all your liberals do. Fear mongering? What? Oh, okay. You're okay with them being locked up because you said they'll be air conditioned, they'll be fine. No, you're taking people without due process and dropping them in a fucking swamp in
intense.
tents.
No air conditioning.
And that's the thing. You guys are so desperate to hang on to what you got that you're just figuring out any way to hold on to it. And it's slipping. 6 months in, it might look bad, but it's slipping.
It
You
is
can
slipping.
feel it. I smell it. You feel it.
But
I
you know, and
mean, because go ahead.
you
Sorry.
have to know what's going on here. For all intents and purposes, whether they are ICE agents or not, what the U.S. government is doing is tantamount to human trafficking.
Yes.
That's exactly what they're doing, and we know that's fucking illegal. And at some point, somebody's going to be held accountable for it. Right now, they get away with it because we've got a crooked DOJ who's being run by Donald Trump. We've got a court system. I mean, we talked about the Supreme Court. As far as I'm concerned, the Supreme Court isn't a legitimate thing anymore. It just
No.
isn't. It's not
No.
credible. It's not legitimate. And remember how badly they reacted when people started talking shit about the Supreme Court and questioning their credibility and how they got all
Right.
butthurt about it. We need to ramp that up more. We
Yes.
need to keep talking about how lacking in credibility and integrity that our Supreme Court is. They are no longer supreme. They aren't legit. They're corrupt. We know they're corrupt because
Mhm.
Clarence Thomas and Alito, uh, we need to spell it out and make sure they feel the pressure that they aren't respected anymore. Nobody respects the Supreme Court, not even Donald Trump.
And it's ironic, because again, I like listening to old radio shows. They're fun. I mean, I love the old radio shows. but sometimes they have the advertising in it. And during that time, at the Red Scare, and they keep talking about freedom and law and what makes the United States great,
Right.
fairness and all that. Yeah, I know there was issues with race and all that. I'm not even going to bring that up, but I'm listening to that going, man, they're right. And now we have a man who doesn't give a fuck about that, except how to line his pockets. And that's the thing. Donald Trump doesn't give a fuck about America or Americans. The
Yeah.
Republican Party, the majority of them do not care about America and Americans. And let's face it, the elite of the Democratic Party do not care about America or Americans.
Right.
It's time we have to acknowledge that bullshit. I'm sad to say that. All they care about is what I can get out of this. What they're finding out, though, maybe the best thing about the second Trump administration, we're finding out that we don't have to burn it down, it burns itself down.
Yeah.
Because with Trump's incompetency and what he's doing, that's going to fall apart. But Democrats not leaping on it and trying to change the system, trying to write it so they can take advantage of it. And again, this is not all Democrats, but those
Enough of them.
folk are being exposed as no better than the Republicans because they're just trying to take advantage of it. And liberal, actually, to be a liberal is actually to believe in the Constitution and due process because they don't. And to make sure everyone, and to be on bottom line, is it everything that Jesus wanted us to do, which would be feed the poor, watch out for your neighbor, and take care of one another. Isn't that what the message should be? What they call
You would think
progressive or
so.
woke? And so is it going to get worse? Oh, hell yeah. I'm sorry to say it. I don't know what's going to come around the corner. If that bill passes and hospitals start to close and people start to die and there's misery, it's going to be tough. And I want to see how they react to it. How they react to it when that really becomes a reality.
To be
We,
honest with you, I don't have a lot of confidence in the Democrats at this point.
no,
There's
not the
nothing
way the
they've done
party,
to make
the
us.
leadership.
There's a few of them, but the vast majority of Democrats are too caught up in the money aspect of this business, and they really don't care if something bad. The only reason they care that something might be bad for the middle class or the poorer class is they're worried about votes. They don't care
Yes.
about you. They don't care about me, and that's the problem we have. We have a profoundly broken system on the
Mm-hmm.
Democrat and the Republican sides. It's just worse on the Republican side, but our whole form of government, our whole system is not working properly. It is tainted. It is broken, and we've got to figure a way out to straighten it out. It's just not enough to get the Republicans out. We've got to either get rid of Democrats or get them back on track one way or another.
But what you're gonna see, I think, in the midterms, again, there will be midterms. Stop it. Stop it. No, they're not going to change the election. No, they're not going to take the ballot boxes. Stop it. Stop it. Okay. I keep saying that because I keep watching. Stop it. Um, what you're going to see, the primaries are going to set the standard. Okay. Because Republicans will nominate the MAGA. Democratic primaries, though, I think what you're going to see is an overturning of a lot of leadership and stuff. And that's when the party's going to panic. Okay. The party apparatus is going to panic because they're going to have to support these people whether they like it or not. And that's where the rubber's going to hit the road in the midterms. If the DNC, the party apparatus, doesn't support a lot of the candidates, i.e., like Mondami, if you get a lot of them out there who can win these elections easily against MAGAs, if they don't support it, then that's how the Republicans win the midterms again.
Yeah.
Because Democrats would eat their own. And if you do that, then I mean that would be the stupidest thing. Because like I saw what's his name, Cuomo's brother. talking about that Madami is the death of the. No, he's not. You fucking, you're an asshole too. I've heard your shtick. There is no middle ground. And the thing about I want to ask Gavin Newsom now. Hey, Gavin, are you going to have Charlie Kirk on your podcast now? Hmm?
Yeah.
Have you seen what happens when you fuck with them? They eat your face, dude. So are you going to join the rest of us or still think there's a middle ground? Or are you going to say that they won the immigration argument? Are they? Did they? See, that's the thing. They're starting to find out you can't play the middle. There is no middle. There is no moderate Democrat. If you're a moderate Democrat, you're a fucking MAGA in sheep's clothing. Because I know
I
what
tend to
you
agree with him.
Yeah, because there's no moderate. There isn't. Right now it's are you for democracy and due process again? Or are you not? That's the question
Well,
and
and
discussion.
as I've said, going into the midterms and going into the presidential election in 2028, um, if you're a moderate, you're not going to fix this thing. Moderate is going, well, I'm not so sure. I kind of like this. I kind of like this. We have a hard turn to the right. And the only way we can straighten this out down the road sometime in the future is if we make a hard left. You you
Yes.
you you can't just pat it on the head and say, "Well, we're better. Just vote for us and we'll get things
Yeah.
back to normal." We got to go hard left. And whether you like that or not, it's not a matter of what you like or what you need or what you want. We've got to do whatever it takes in 26 and 28 to
Yeah.
fucking win, no matter what it is. And even if it's something you don't like too fucking bad, you got to start someplace and you got to get on the right path. And the only way you can do that is get rid of Republicans.
Yeah. And the thing about it is that we're so far hard right. If you do a hard left, we're going to go back to almost where we were before, probably with a little more empathy.
Yeah.
You guys, because you keep talking about we're all going to be socialists. You have no idea how a socialist system works. Okay.
No.
I mean, and trust me, from what I read about some socialist system like Germany or in Sweden, yeah, I wish that was part of our system. Okay. Because you don't have to worry about a lot of shit like we had to do
Yeah.
in America. But those are just buzzwords to scare people. I am fucking tired of fear. Fear has made everyone where we're at right now. I
I
fear
agree.
this. I fear the Democrat. I fear the liberal. I fear this. Oh my God. Look, there are fears in our lives. We're going to pay our bills. You know, can I keep the lights on? How's my health? Those are different things that you deal with. Okay. But the fear that they give us in these buzzwords is bullshit. And you people, especially you very poor, have bought into this because you live your life in fear. I get it. When's my next meal coming for? How am I going to do this? How am I going to pay a bill? How am I going to get somewhere? My car's broken down. You live in that constant stress. I get it. And then they add to it by saying, yeah, but even to keep what you want, they're going to take it away from you. And so you buy into the Mitch McConnells and all those people, not knowing that they're not looking out for your best interest.
No.
I get it. And stress and fear, and we do this every day, and Trump ramps it up, and it's like literally water on a rock constantly.
I
And
would
we
say
need
this to
calm
people.
waters.
I would say this to people. Don't you just want to live your life again? Those
Mm-hmm.
days when you didn't worry about what was going on in politics and the crazy shit, like when Obama was in office for 8 years. We didn't worry about politics so much because we didn't need to. They did what they were kind of expected to do. Maybe some things happened hidden under the cover of darkness, but it was far better than it was today. The thing about it is, don't you want to go back to a life where you deal with the things in your own life, try to lead a happy life, do the things you want to do instead of waking up every morning hearing about deportations or the fucking economy getting slammed or all these conspiracy theories? Don't people ache to get back to that time?
I mean,
Because if you do, you got to stop being afraid. You got to start being strong. Focus on what you've got to do and don't take shit.
right.
That's the only way you can get back to that.
And also, and I think Governor Wall said that during the campaign. Mind your own business.
Yeah.
Mind your own business. See, we had to be. One thing I want to say: you do want to be savvy with politics. Is that's how they got behind us
Yeah.
in those days with Reagan and everything. You have to be savvy, but you don't want to. You want to worry about policy, not the other bullshit they brought up,
Right.
which is mind your own business. Don't worry about who I sleep with. Don't worry about my what's going on in my life. As long as I obey the laws, leave me the fuck alone. The
Right.
problem is that everyone wants to be is a busybody, and they write legislation to be busybody because they don't know how to govern. You
Right.
notice that in these red states, there's no governance. It's just busybody laws to interfere with people's lives because they can't
Exactly.
govern. They don't know the subtleties of governing. So yeah, that's what I want to return to. I also want to return to the point is that someone can get an education without having to worry about to pay for it. You can have kids will have lunch without worry about. You can go to a library without someone banning a fucking book. Did you see what they did in Tennessee? Real quick side note, where
What's
they
that?
changed their Kitty Fang did a great video on this on YouTube. They tweaked their laws about banning books, so it's so broad that if you go into a book and find a text that violates like sexual or something, you can ban the books. And the books they're banning are like The Complete World of Dogs and Cats,
Wow.
Light in the Attic by Shel Silverstein. And you got your normal things, the To Kill a Mockingbird, Fahrenheit 451, all that. But they they did this based on a report from an organization that doesn't exist anymore, which was a Front for Moms for Liberty.
Right.
So that's what I want to get away from, because the point of if you've never read Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, you ever read it, Mike?
Yeah, a long time ago.
A long time, okay. It sticks with me all that time from the time I read it as a kid, because the basis for it is they keep looking out for your safety so you don't have to worry about stuff. So they banned thoughts
Right.
because they don't want people to be worried. Books make you worry, ideas make you worry. Don't worry about it. We'll handle that for you. We'll get rid of all the books. You just keep doing your thinking, take your drugs, it's all fine. And I always remember that because that's what they're doing now to an extent. To take away, let us handle it.
Exactly.
Give us everything you want, obey our rules, and everything will be okay. But we don't want that. We don't,
Not in a
because
free
we want to
country.
do our
No.
own. We want to do our own thing. I mean, again, will there be people that break the law? Yeah, but that's law enforcement. That's a different cat. What I don't want is to make everyday life things crimes. That's what you've done. You're going, you make, who you love is a crime. Where you go is a crime. What you look like is a crime. What you say is a crime. See, that's not freedom.
No,
That's
it's not.
control. And we're not that. I mean, there's a great line again. Star Wars, everyone goes, well, but they make a point about a rise of authoritarian government, and it's in the show The Mandalorian after they defeated the Empire, and there's a remnant of it. Keep like terrorist groups, they keep doing it, and there's talking to an old Imperial officer, and he goes, they say we're rising. You know why? Because people don't want freedom; they want order.
Right.
But people don't want order per se. They just want everything to run okay. But don't fuck with my stuff. Freedom is being allowed to do what you can without harming society. And we've gotten away from it because other people need to control other people because it makes them feel better.
Yeah.
That's what they need. And I can't, and we're not going to abide by it. And come July 4th, I think you're going to find out a lot of people aren't going to buy this shit.
No, they aren't. It's
And
going to be interesting to see what happens. We're coming toward the end, and I wanted to bring something up because
mhm,
there was a prediction you and I made, and it looks like it's going to come true depending on how Donald Trump responds. Remember when Elon and Donald Trump were fighting, and it was getting pretty ugly and pretty scary
mhm,
for both of them because they could both be exposed by the other? Um, and then it calmed down because their people probably said, "You better stop. You're going to fuck yourself over on this deal." Well, the last couple of days, Elon Musk has been ranting about the big, beautiful bill.
mhm.
What I'm waiting for is the unhinged response from Donald Trump. It's definitely coming. Donald Trump is not going to sit there and listen to Elon Musk piss on his pet project. So I'm really excited to see how these two go off the deep end because at some point they are going to expose things about each other that they will never be able to put back. So this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that and I'm like going, okay, I guess Elon was lonely and
Yeah,
needed to make a comment. So, and I don't think that Trump has addressed him yet because he's
not
addressing
yet.
everything else because he's trying to get this bill passed. It's so sad to watch someone try to sell a bill not for the benefits of America, but the benefit that I get a win. I
Right.
need to
That's
win.
all he cares about.
That's all he
I mean,
cares about. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
if they got the bill and he passes it, he'll claim a huge win, the biggest
But
budget bill ever.
this bill is so tainted because the saddest thing to think about is that it's Democrats should know better, really, because a lot of the stuff that they're taking out of this bill was built by one Democrat, Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah.
Lyndon Johnson's war on poverty is what they're trying to take apart.
Right.
And Democrats have not followed in his footsteps. They got lost.
Absolutely.
They got lost because you understand that Lyndon Johnson was from the South. He was from
Texas.
Texas. Okay, governor. He was governor of Texas. Yeah, he was governor of Texas. But he had so much empathy for people in America when he saw the poor and civil rights, even more than Kennedy did. Kennedy was almost like a middle of the road. We'll let the South have some of it. No, no.
Yeah.
When Johnson became president, Johnson said, "Oh hell no, we're going to do all or nothing," because he knew the justice of it. He never gets his fucking due, Lyndon Johnson. He never does because of Vietnam.
Right.
That was his downfall. But what he did societally in this country made a big difference. And uh, Republicans been trying to take it apart because actually Dixiecrats who became Republicans, he forced it through. That's why the South flipped because Democrats became human beings and got
Right.
away from all their Jim Crow bullshit under Johnson. That's why when I hear these fucking MAGA goes, yeah, well, this all happened to the Democrats, with slavery and shit. Yeah, right. Shut the fuck up. Your Republican Party couldn't wait to fill that power vacuum once that happened. Kiss
Right.
my ass. Okay. But the point is, if you, they have been trying to get rid of this and Roosevelt's New Deal for decades.
Right.
And this is the first step on it. Okay. And if they do it and you have something so ingrown in you can't go back. People aren't accepting it. That's the thing. They think like McConnell said they'll get over it. No, no, baby. No, it's part of the society. Even those who vote for you depend on it. And so maybe that bill passing, which it probably will, it's just going to be the biggest blow up in their face. And unless you're willing to go absolutely authoritarian and start, busting heads in the street, that might be the end for both parties as we see them.
Yeah, I tend to think you're right, because you got one party trying to do the damage and the Democratic Party sitting there with their thumbs up their ass. And that's the unfortunate thing. We have problems on both sides.
Yeah.
If we can shut down the Republicans, we still have problems with the
Which
Democrats.
leaves the whole thing, as I've told people for a long time already. No one's coming to save us. There ain't no Justice League. There ain't no Avengers. There ain't no courts. The military doesn't give it, is pretty much just standing still. And your elected official is wondering how much he can get in his pocket. It's going to be left to Americans, a government for the people, by the people, because we have set standards before with protest. We have pushed them to go where we want by protest. They do not control us. And that's the thing. The only people that can unfuck this is us. No
Yeah,
one
you're
else.
absolutely right.
And if we come through and have to rebuild the Democratic Party on the fly, that's the thing. On the fly, to get out of this immediate mess, I think we will, whether the people in charge want it or not. And they're going to get swept by the tide. And that's where we're coming to. It's us. Don't worry about anything else. It's us. And basically, right now, to use a term from someone on TikTok, and if you know, you know, we just got to do it scared and
Yeah.
move it forward.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. All right, Will, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. We're doing a little advanced podcast here, so people are hearing this on Tuesday. It's recorded on Sunday night, but it's done for a good cause, so that I
yep.
don't have to try to do try to do a podcast while I'm driving down the fucking road. That would be a little tough, so I'm not going to do
Yeah,
that.
that would be interesting. I mean, try
But
and do a live on the road would be
yeah,
crazy. No,
yeah,
don't
no
do that.
shit. I'd be going in and out of the fucking cell service. But anyway, Will, thank you very much. I appreciate it immensely.
No
We'll be
problem,
talking
Mike.
to
I
you soon
appreciate it.
again.
Oh,
No
quick point
doubt.
to everyone.
Yeah.
Again, original account is dead. Binder38 US 2 is my account on TikTok. I'm up to 204 people now. We'll get there.
Let's pump it up.
Again, yeah, and then again, you can follow me on YouTube, Binder38 US on YouTube. But right now, my videos are being repressed. I feel like the Holy Grail line, help, help, I'm being repressed. But as one person said, if 50 people watch it and they get something out of it, fuck it. I did my job. So we move forward.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
But thank
Those
you,
of
Mike,
you
for letting
listen,
me speak.
thank you. For those of you listening, thank you for taking the time. Hope you have a great day. We will talk to you tomorrow.